Hey guys, I'm Jordan,
And I'm Ryan.
and today this is our first episode of our podcast called The Common Ground.
Yes, sir.
So today we're going to be talking about sharing our testimonies and our background, just to get to know us and how we are. We were before Jesus, and this is how we are as now we're with Jesus.
Amen. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, Jordan. I think testimonies are so powerful. Our stories carry a lot of weight, and they can really impact. Of course, they've impacted our whole life, but they can really influence and encourage others through struggles or tribulations or things that they might be going through similarly, and it's what allows us to empathize with others that might be going through something similar.
Wow, that's awesome. I think for me, I'm very pumped for this. I'm excited to do this for a very long time.
Speaking of that, why don't you share with them a little about why, when you approached me about this, and your reason behind it, your heart behind it, the heartbeat of the podcast itself, and how you came up with this cool name.
Well, one of the reasons why I decided to do this podcast and why we came up with the name The Common Ground, it was because I decided to, we all have testimonies, and we all have different backgrounds, and we want to be there, and we have stories, and we have to learn how to expand our stories out here, because we all have a testimony. And the reason why I decided to do it for myself is because I want to share my story to the world. So and our goal for us is to bring people on the show, share their testimonies and their background, how they was with with Jesus and everything like that. I'm very pumped for this, and I just can't wait to till we get started to share our own.
Yeah, of course. Awesome, man. Well, yeah, I mean, you said it pretty perfectly. Is everyone out here has their own testimony, their own story, and I think it's powerful. And the reason we came up with the name is The Common Ground is two men that live two separate lives, two totally different backgrounds, different total hardships one way or another, and God's still leading us to Him. And I think it's powerful because think about the millions of people out there that have total different stories all over every other country in the world, all over the world, and they're all led to Jesus as well. And it's powerful, and so I think it'd be cool not only to hear from us, but then others and all our friends out there on what led them to Jesus, and then how they are living out their great commission of loving and leading others to Jesus and our mission here on earth. And so I think it's pretty cool. But I think it'd be really cool, I guess, to start off with just hearing your testimony. I think it's pretty powerful.
Me? So my testimony, it goes like this. So basically, I came from a wealthy family. My mom was making six figures, and screwed up with my stepdad. Basically, I came from a very abusive home. I used to get abused by my parents all my life. When I get in trouble from school, I used to get, my consequences was getting locked in the room. Basically, it's most likely when it comes to, that situation, it was very hard.
Sure.
Getting locked in the room, not coming out, and if you want to use the bathroom, you should you want to knock on the door, but you can't do anything. So. Yeah. My best situation during that situation was, I had to go to the window. I had scissors at the time, so I cut the little lenses. So that's how I, used the bathroom, which it sucked.
Yeah.
And and I think one of the biggest things for me is that it was just hard, growing up. But for me, luckily, I graduated high school, y'all, and I left my mom's house when I was 18, and I decided to move in with my grandmother. And my grandmother was not as the best. It turns out she was worse than my mom, actually, and I found out she had mental illness, and it really didn't really fit well with me during that time. And So I was there at my grandmother's house for 6 months, and it led to somewhere that my coworker, who I was working at the time, led me into a mental house called the Ridgeview. I was there for about a week, guys, and it turned out to be very a lot. It was a lot of different types of people, like some mental patients that were there that were obviously different for me. So, luckily I was there for a week and I got myself out of there, and that's what it led to me to a place called Covenant House that they referred me to, which it was in Atlanta. So when I got to Covenant House, so Covenant House, if you guys don't know what Covenant House is like a homeless for teens for 18 to 24. And what that program is, this program is supposed to, help us get resources as far as, jobs, apartments and school, just anything.
Yeah.
And it's just basically just trying to get us motivated so we can get prepared to be in the real world. That's just like, when you go to, when you work, you don't have to pay rent at the shelter. You just save your money. So when you get your own place, you got money saved on the side. So
That's cool.
You can be financially stable. And so like Covenant House, I've been there 4 times. The first time I was there when I was 19, and I was doing good for 3 months, and unfortunately I got myself into situations that I should never put myself in. And I eventually got transitioned out for my actions of what I did. It wasn't the best. And so I led to being at a bando. So people don't know what bando is. Bandos means abandoned house. And so I was staying in an abandoned house for about a month, and it was one of the worst experiences of my life because I've never experienced of being homeless before. I never begged money for food for anybody or anything like that. It was a lot. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot for me, just seeing that, just being at a poor situation, But luckily they took me back in from Covenant House for the second time, and it was actually very, very helpful. I did what I was supposed to do. I did a lot of those type of things and along those lines. And for me, I would say that I just didn't work for like a whole year at Covenant House. All I did was, did what they asked, do community service, help around the place and whatever, as far as like food, furniture getting moved and stuff like that. So, me, I was being very helpful. And so they led to me a program that involves trade school. So this is time I wasn't even in college or anything like that. So it's called Westside Works. So Westside Works is basically like programs that could be good for youth, that can lead to, construction or, cooking classes and, nursing and those type of things. So I decided to do construction because, I just want to get something out of the way so I can accomplish something. Unfortunately, I did. I was the first youth from Covenant House that graduated from Westside Works.
Cool.
And
Awesome.
that was like probably my first achievement that I've ever done since I've been with Covenant House. And my biggest thing with me is that I went to I got a job after I graduated at construction. Sure. It was called Technique Concrete Construction, y'all, and it was not the best experience. Sure. The money was great. Don't get me wrong, guys. The money was great. It just wasn't for me. I'm sorry. It just wasn't for me. Like, I'm sorry. And so I left that job. And so Covenant House had a job fair, and it had like all different types of companies that came down, and they were hiring on the spot. So I went to the Underground in Atlanta, which it was open during that time before it got closed down. And I went down there, and I had my suit, I had my pants, dress up, just get ready to get hired on the spot because that's what they're looking for. So I got to, so I ran to a guy, it was from a Publix company, and he asked me like, "Are you ready to work? If you want to come, we're gonna interview you, stuff like that." So I was like, "Okay, cool. I don't mind, and stuff like that." So when I got to Publix, that's at Peachtree Battle in Buckhead, I did the kiosk. When you type it in and stuff like that. And so when I did that, I talked to the manager, and it was the same guy, but he was the assistant store manager. And I found it was awesome because, just seeing the guy again, and then I got interviewed and I got hired on the spot.
That was cool.
I've been at Publix for about say 2 years. And I had learned so much experience. This is the longest job I've ever kept in my life. And I had like some best experiences, and I had not so good experiences. One of my best experiences that I've been at Publix was connections. Getting to know people. Just making your job easier. Just building relationships. Get to know somebody, because it makes people feel comfortable, enjoy what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be at a job that's you don't like and you don't want to be there. You just want to make money and leave. And that's when my life started to change. When I started getting to know people and connections, I was like, wow, it's just that simple. It's customer service. All you do is just talking to people. That's all you're doing. And now it's making my job more easy than ever, because I just love talking to people. So one day I ran into a guy. I know this man for 6 months, and his name is Louis Giglio. I always take him out his groceries all the time, and and put bags in his car. I see his wife Shelly all the time. They were wonderful people. Don't get me wrong. He always tipped me well and stuff like that, because we always enjoy to have nice conversations. And one day, he asked me about, you're looking for a church, church or anything. Are you in the church? They're like, no, I'm not in church, because I had some bad experience being at different churches and stuff like that. And so being me, like, he's like, well, we got a church that's, it's called Passion City. It's 5 o'clock. And he's like, what time do you get off? I was like, okay, I get off at 4:30. I didn't know you guys had a evening service, because you don't see a lot of churches that open in the evening. And one of the biggest things for me is that, either I'm going to take this risk of going back to Covenant House and do my daily routine for the rest of the day, or just go to Passion and just check it out yourself and see, what's out there. So lucky I went to Passion. And when I got there, it was a mega church. And it was amazing. The people were welcoming. It was awesome, just like most churches. But the thing that surprised me was it was an auditorium. I've never seen a auditorium setting like that. So I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty awesome. And then it led to, I was looking for Louis and Shelly. I was like, I don't know where they're at. I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit here by myself because I don't know where they're at. I mean, they say they attend there, so I was like, hey, cool. So the music played. The music was awesome. I've never seen like a concert like that ever in my life, because I feel like, wow, this is crazy. Like when you see churches do stuff like this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they put on production.
And then the part that shocked me was when I saw Louis go on stage. I was like, wait a second, hold up.
Wait, I know that guy.
Yeah, I know that guy. Like, what's going on? Like,
yeah.
I was like, what? Like, this is amazing. Like, wait, hold on. So I asked someone next to me. He's like, yeah, I know him. I actually know him. He's like, who's that? That's the pastor. I was like, wait, what? Pastor Louis Giglio? What? I never knew that. So, but the funny part about that is, so one day I was working at Publix. This is after when I went to Passion for the very first night. And the thing that really got me is that he came by, he was getting like some like fruits and stuff, because he loved fruit, y'all. And he said, they'd be like, hey, I didn't know you were pastor of the church. He was like, surprise. Yeah. So I thought that was funny. So I was like, okay, you got me. So I know who you are now. So, but the part that really got me was, I went to Passion again. I went there the next Sunday after that. And then this was the first time when people would say, hey, you want to go out to eat? Yeah, man, you should come by, go out to eat, It was Dar, it was Gina, and the rest of the family. So they invited me to go to Chipotle. I've probably never ate there before. Never ate Chipotle.
Really?
Never.
That's crazy.
Never.
I had it every day in college.
Really?
Every day.
Dude, oh my goodness, that's amazing. Yes, I went to Chipotle. I didn't know it was there. I was like, okay, there's rice. Okay, there's burritos.
Sure.
You know, rice, whatever, such and that. But yeah, the fact that they got to know me and it just like took time to like, what's your testimony? What's your background? What's your everything like that? And I was like, wow, I never knew anybody asked me like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you could tell they cared.
Yeah, they cared. So, and it was genuine too. And that's why I expand and tell my story, what I went through, and this and that and the third. And then it was just like, wow. You know, he said, well, I'm gonna tell you this. Dar told me this at his very best. He said, Jordan, they have young adults for college and young professionals. Like, what is that? He says it's called the college nights. You should come out to the college nights. You know, they have it on Tuesday nights every 2 weeks.
Sure.
So he said my son goes there, and you should attend. That's how you make more friends, connect with people,
Sure.
and this, that, and the third. And you know, it was like, okay, wow, I'm gonna take a look into that. So my first college night, I was at church. And it was like a 7:30 evening service. The welcoming was great as always, but it was younger people, so it was around my age group. So I said, okay, this is pretty nice, right? So the word was amazing. I think it was Nate Butler that preached that night. I don't think you know who Nate Butler is, but Nate Butler is a great preacher when it comes to college nights because God says. And so it was amazing. But then so I met some few people there, and they asked me, yeah, you know, we're going out to Waffle House after this. I was like, wait, y'all go to Waffle House this late like this?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, you know, we're going out to Waffle House, so you should come swing by. And I was like, it's okay, cool. I don't have a ride though. He's like, oh, we're gonna give you a ride to go to Waffle House. And the Waffle House is at Lindbergh. So we went to the Waffle House, and the amount of people at Passion were there. I was like, wow, this is like a sold out, like it was like a crowd, you know what I'm saying? So when I got to the Waffle House, it was amazing. I was just like, wow, I feel like I'm like
The food was that good?
the food was good, but the people was amazing too. And I met some few people there. I met Anastasia, I love you. Patience, Michael, just a bunch of those top, Ellen, and the rest of them. And the fact that they got to know me at that first night, and we took a picture. It was like around 2017, and I just felt like, well, I'm gonna start coming back more often.
Cool.
Yeah. So, long story short, I started getting involved with Passion. I started getting into it, and this and that and the third, and you know, and I made more connections. Like I was like, wow, this is my home. You know, I'm gonna make this while I can. So around June of 2018, I was working at Publix until I got myself into a situation that led to me getting fired. So for a brief story from that, so the management at the time, you know, because management at Publix, they switched to different stores. So, you know, every management is different. So you might vibe this one manager, but the next manager that's coming to for this store, you may not feel the same way. And this manager, I didn't really feel the same way because I felt like I enjoyed talking to my customers every day, you know, getting to know them and see how's their kids, how's their daily life, vacation, whatever. And it just led to something that I just feel like I wasn't appreciated. You know, my management didn't appreciate all the donations, how much I'm making for the store, just anything about myself as a man, like as a character and everything. So I didn't use this up here. So I kind of just, you know, I did something that I regret to this day, and that was you know, taking money out of donations. And so I was so I'm always in the front. So I always, you know, carry a bucket on me at the front. And, you know, people just throw cash when you walk in, you know, when they see you and stuff like that. So I took money out of donations, and one of my coworkers called told my manager, and so basically I was on the verge of getting fired, and it was very hard for me because the amount of connections I made at Publix for over 2 years, and it just went flunkered because of my choices and my attitude and my perception, it just didn't really work out for me. And
Cool.
I wish I can do things a little bit different, but unfortunately that's the past, and this is where we are now. So then I went to church that Sunday, and I needed to do something different. So that's why I decided to put my faith in Jesus. When I put my faith in Jesus, that was the day that was on Louis' birthday.
I remember.
Yeah.
I was there.
And that was probably the biggest change in my life when I started to, put my faith in Jesus and everything like that. So then I prayed about a lot of things, tried to get myself another job and everything like that. Just hoping and praying I find another job, because I don't want to be stuck at somewhere where I build and then it just crash. I want to start something new. So luckily for me, I ran into another customer that I know at Publix that comes and shops there all the time. He's actually a GM for this place called Another Broken Egg Cafe. And basically Another Broken Cafe is like a breakfast brunch. It's like a restaurant. So
Yep.
This is my first ever restaurant job. So I told the GM, and I said, hey, I got fired, I did something that I shouldn't have, and he was very lenient with me. So he was just like, yeah, man, just come over here. Like, we're happy to let you work here, I said, mind you, this is my first ever restaurant job, y'all, because I've never worked at a restaurant in my life. So, but they said it revolves around people. I was like, okay, this made me not as bad as I thought, because I was kind of nervous, y'all. So, I went to, so I started working on the Broken Egg. I was a host. Well, I'm still am a host, y'all. And when I first got there, it was kind of like, I was very nervous, because I don't know what to say, because he's like, hey, how you doing? You dining in, how many, just 2, 3, whatever, and sit them down, seat and greet. But a couple of weeks, when I started getting myself comfortable at my job, I found something that one of the servers told me. His name was Scott Calvin Porter. So shout out to Scott, guys. Scott he saw something in me that I never thought I'd see myself. He said, well, when you said, at Publix, you got to know a lot of people at Publix just because of the personality, the customer service that you are. Well, you're a host. You're the first one in and you're the last one to get out.
Cool.
So I just said, okay, well, I don't know what that means. He said, well, Jordan, you're the first one to get in and you're the last one to get out. So why can't you just try something different than just doing the seat and greet? Because sometimes it makes people better welcoming than just kind of like playing distant, playing low. So I made up my mind and I said, you know what? If I can do that at Publix, I can do this at the restaurant too. So I have no problem. So so then this is something I did something a little different now. Now when I see people walk in, is I introduce myself. So I introduce myself. Sometimes, most of the time I shake their hand, nice to meet you, whatever. And, how was you guys' day so far? As I walk into the table and stuff like that. I told them I don't mind making friends. I just like to make friends with the guests. If you guys are okay with that, fine. And we